I died, choking on my own blood. The taste of betrayal as bitter as the pills they'd forced down my throat. Waking up to the sterile beep of a hospital monitor in 2018, my hands young and unscarred. I knew the universe had handed me a loaded gun, a second chance to bury my killers alive. But the first face I saw, my mother's, twisted in fake concern, was the one I'd make beg for mercy before I pulled the trigger. The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets overhead, and the smell of antiseptic hit me like a freight train. I was back, 28 years old, flat on my back in Mount Sinai's ER. The year 2018 stamped on the chart clipped to my bed. My heart hammered, not from the overdose that hadn't happened yet, but from the flood of memories crashing in, the boardroom ambush, the forged documents pinning embezzlement on me, the sister who'd whispered poison in my ear while slipping the noose around my neck. Elena. My own flesh and blood. And Victor, that snake of a fiancé, grinning as he siphoned every cent from the restaurant chain I'd built from nothing. I'd poured my soul into Mama's kitchen, starting as a line cook in our family's dingy Queen's diner, scraping by on tips while Mom hoarded every dollar for her rainy day fund that never saw a drop. By 35, I'd turned it into an empire, 5 locations across Manhattan and Brooklyn, farm-to-table fusion that had foodies from the Village to Wall Street lining up. Michelin stars whispered our name. But success? It bred monsters. Elena, the golden child, fresh out of Wharton with her MBA and entitlement, saw my empire as her birthright. Victor, the charming investor I'd met at a rooftop mixer, played the long game, seducing me while feeding intel to her. The betrayal unfolded like a bad noir flick. Elena discovered discrepancies in the books, fudged by Victor's hacks, of course, and went straight to the board. I was ousted, blacklisted, my name dragged through the tabloids as the greedy chef who cooked the books. Mom, she sided with Elena, cutting me off cold. Family first. Maggie, she'd said over the phone, her voice like ice. No birthday call. No lifeline. Just silence as I spiraled. The pills were my exit, or so they thought until the autopsy screamed foul play. But by then, the damage was done. Elena inherited it all. Victor got a fat consulting fee. Mom got her rainy day villa in the Hamptons. Now, here I was, reborn in the body that still believed in second chances. The doctor, a harried Indian guy with a clipboard, mumbled something about dehydration and stress. MS. Hargrove, you fainted at work. Low blood sugar. Eat something. Okay, I nodded, my voice raspy but mine. Young. Alive. As he left, I swung my legs off the bed, ignoring the tug. My phone buzzed on the side table, a text from Elena. Cease. Heard you passed out. Mom's worried. Dinner tonight? My treat. XO. My treat. The words ignited something feral in my chest. Last time. That dinner was the trap, Victor's first appearance. All charm and calculated compliments. Elena's eyes gleaming with the plan already forming. This time, I'd flip the script. I'd let them think they had me on the ropes, then yank the rug out from under their polished Louboutins. I checked out against medical advice, hailing a cab back to my cramped Astoria apartment. The city blurred past, honking taxis, steam rising from manhole covers, the endless grind of New York that I'd once loved. Now it felt like an accomplice, hiding sins in its shadows. Inside, the place was a time capsule, takeout boxes from the diner, My notebook scribbled with menu ideas for the expansion I dreamed of. I rifled through drawers, finding the USB drive, my ace. The one with Victor's early emails to Elena. Flirtatious at first, then damning. Proof they'd been plotting since month 3. But in my first life, I dismissed it as paranoia.
Not this time.
First move, fortify the fortress. I called my lawyer, old Mr.
Goldstein.
Voice shaking just enough to sell the vulnerability. Sam, it's Maggie. I need to update my will.
And
Audit the books. Quietly, he paused, then chuckled. Girl, you sound like you saw a ghost. What's got you spooked? If only he knew. Just family drama, I lied. Next, the accountant, a no-nonsense Latina named Rosa who'd been my rock before they isolated her. Dig deep. Rosa. Every transaction. And if you smell rot, you tell me. By evening, I was at the original Mama's kitchen, the heartbeat of it all. The place hummed, waiters darting with trays of truffle fries and short-rib tacos. The open kitchen a symphony of sizzles and shouts. Mom was behind the counter, her silver-streaked hair pinned back, barking orders in that thick Brooklyn accent. Margaret, what the hell happened? You look like death warmed over. Her eyes flicked to my pale face, concern warring with annoyance. She'd always seen me as the workhorse, Elena the star. I hugged her stiffly, inhaling the faint scent of garlic and regret. Just a dizzy spell.
Ma.
Elena invited me to dinner. You coming? Her face tightened. That girl. Always spending what she doesn't have. But she nodded, wiping flour from her hands. Elena arrived fashionably late, Victor in tow like a well-groomed shadow. He was all teeth and tailored suits, shaking my hand with that grip that said mine. Maggie.
Babe.
You okay? Heard about the faint. We were worried sick. Elena air-kissed my cheeks, her perfume cloying Chanel No. 5. The scent of our childhood fights. Table for 4? My card. We settled into a booth at La Bella Vita, a trendy Italian spot in Soho that screamed Instagram bait. Exposed brick, Edison bulbs, overpriced Negronis. Elena ordered for the table lobster ravioli, heirloom tomato salads like she owned the world. Victor leaned in, his knee brushing mine under the table. So, expansion plans? I crunched some numbers. We could go big, Vegas. Maybe. His eyes sparkled with false enthusiasm. I sipped my wine, letting the warmth steady me.
We.
As if. The conversation flowed like syrup, Elena's Wharton anecdotes, Mom's proud nods, Victor's pitches laced with subtle digs at my impulsive decisions. Then the bill came. Elena reached for her purse, rifling dramatically.
Oh, shoot.
Forgot my card at home. Vic. He patted his pockets, feigning surprise. Left mine in the jacket.
Ma.
You got this. Mom's face soured, but she pulled out her ancient wallet, counting bills with pinched lips. Always the same song and dance. I watched, the scene etching into my brain like acid. In my first life, I'd covered it, laughing it off.
The fool.
This time, I slid my black Amex across the table. On me. Elena's relief was palpable. Victor's smile a touch too grateful. Mom muttered thanks, but her eyes held that familiar resentment. Why can't you be more like your sister? as we spilled onto the sidewalk, rain slicking the streets. Elena looped her arm through mine. You're the best.
Mags.
Love you. The words twisted like a knife. I smiled, squeezing back. Love you too,
Sis.
more than you know. But inside, the plan crystallized. I'd let them dig their grave, then hand them the shovel. The next weeks were a masterclass in patience, the kind that gnaws at your bones. I threw myself into the restaurant, tweaking recipes by day, plotting by night. Rose's audit turned up the first worm. Small transfers from the business account to Elena's personal line, loans for her startup ideas. Victor's fingerprints were everywhere, his consulting fees ballooning like yeast in dough. I didn't confront. I documented.
Screenshots.
Timestamps. Emails forwarded to a secure drive. Controversy brewed early. At a family barbecue in Mom's backyard, hot dogs charring on the grill, cousins yelling over a pickup game of cornhole, I dropped the first bomb. Hey,
El.
saw your latest pitch deck. Impressive. But why route funds through Mama's? Tax write-off. Her fork froze midair. Salad dripping vinaigrette. Victor coughed into his beer. Mom shot me a look. Don't stir the pot, but I pressed. Casual as pie. Just curious. Transparency's key. Right? Elena's laugh was brittle. What are you on about? It's all above board. But her eyes darted to Victor. And I saw the crack. Fear. That night, my phone lit up with block numbers. Anonymous texts. Back off.
Bitch.
I saved them all. Evidence. The real heat came when I started courting investors on my own. No more leaning on Victor's network. I hit up the angel crowd at Techstars Mixers, pitching Mama's as the next Shake Shack with a side of soul food twists. One venture capitalist, a sharp-eyed woman named Lydia from Harlem, bit hard. I like your fire, Margaret. But family drama? That's a red flag. I leaned in, voice low. Family's the fuel. Watch me burn bright. Lydia's seed money came with strings, a board seat for her. Full audit. Elena caught wind through the grapevine, cornering me in the walk-in freezer at the flagship location. Blocks of cheese sweating on shelves. What the fuck? Maggie? Going behind my back, her cheeks flushed. That entitled rage bubbling. I'm the one with the degree. This is our legacy. I echoed, stepping closer, the cold biting my skin. You mean the one you're bleeding dry? She slapped me, hard, the sting echoing off metal walls. In my first life, I'd crumpled, tears freezing on my lashes. This time, I grabbed her wrist, twisting just enough to make her gasp. Touch me again, and I'll end you. Her eyes widened, shock morphing to hatred. You're crazy. Mom will hear about this. Let her. Mom called the next day, voice quivering. Margaret, what's this I hear? Fighting like animals? Elena's beside herself. I played contrite. The good daughter. Just a misunderstanding.
Ma.
But we need to talk money. The books. They're off. Silence. Thick as fog. Your sister's stressed. Give her space. Space to bury me. You mean? As autumn leaves turned the parks to fire, I escalated. Controversial? Hell yes. I seduced Victor, or let him think he was seducing me. Late nights at the bar after closing. Whiskey neat.
His hand on my thigh.
Miss this, he'd murmur, lips brushing my ear. I'd laugh, low and throaty, feeding him just enough rope. One night, buzzed and bold, I confessed doubts about Elena. She's reckless.
Vic.
We could run this together. You and me. His eyes lit like a predator scenting blood. By week's end, he'd slipped. Emails sent to my dummy account, outlining their scheme, frame me for the shortfall, force a buyout at pennies. Jackpot. But the real gut punch waited in Mom's attic, unearthed during a surprise visit. Dusty boxes of our childhood, Elena's report cards gold-starred, mine smudged with grease stains. Buried under faded photos, a ledger, yellowed pages crammed with Mom's scrawl. Not rainy days, but rainy schemes. She'd been skimming since Dad died, tips pocketed, suppliers shorted. Elena knew. Hell, she'd helped. The secret that chained us, Mom's crime. The one I'd covered for at 16. Forging receipts to keep the diner afloat. Family first, she'd said then. Tears in her eyes. I'd shouldered it. The mistake that tainted every success.
Now?
It was leverage. Blackmail burned hot in my veins. But revenge demanded precision. I confronted Mom alone. In her kitchen, over weak coffee. I found the ledger. Ma. Her cup shattered on the tile. Shards scattering like her composure. That was nothing. Survival. I slid photos across, her with shady suppliers. Elena's signature on falsified checks. Survival? Or greed? You let Elena twist it into a noose for me. She crumpled, sobs racking her frame. I didn't know. She promised it'd stop.
Lies.
But the crack widened. Help me fix it, or it all comes out. IRS. Headlines. Hargrove dynasty built on theft. Her nod was broken. A puppet with cut strings. Controversial? Forcing your own mother to betray your sister? In America, where blood's thicker than water, but money's thicker than blood. It was just Tuesday. Winter clamped down on the city like a vice. Snow piling on fire escapes, turning Manhattan into a glittering cage. Elena's paranoia ramped up. She started visiting unannounced, rifling through my office files under the guise of sisterly concern. Victor played double agent. His text to me laced with pillow talk promises. Ditch her. We deserve this. I strung him along, recording every call, every moan in the dark of my apartment when he'd sneak over. It was vile, using my body as bait. But damn if it didn't feel like justice, turning their weapon on them. The board meeting loomed, the one where it had all gone south before. This time, I prepped like a general, Lydia at my side, Rosa's audit bound in leather, Mom's ledger tucked in my briefcase like a grenade. Elena strutted in late, Victor flanking her like a Secret Service suit, Mom trailing with downcast eyes. The conference room at our Midtown HQ overlooked the Chrysler Building, all glass and steel, symbol of the empire I'd claw back. Let's cut the bullshit, Elena opened, sliding a folder across the polished oak. Maggie's been erratic. Fainting spells. Paranoia. And these discrepancies? It's her sign-off on every transfer. Victor nodded solemnly, projecting charts that painted me as the villain, red arrows plunging like daggers. Murmurs rippled through the suits. Investors. Old-timers from the diner days. Mom stared at her lap, silent. My turn. I stood, slow and steady, heart thundering but voice ice. Erratic or enlightened? I tossed Rosa's report down, pages fanning like cards in a blackjack hand. Try this on for size. $250,000 siphoned to offshore accounts. Elena's name. Victor's routing. And here's the kicker. Mom's been cooking the books since '05. Survival. She calls it. Gasps. Chair scraping. Mom whimpered. But I pressed. I covered for her once. Won't again. Elena's face drained of color. A ghost in Gucci. Lies. She's framing us, jealous. Unhinged, Victor lunged for the ledger. But Lydia intercepted.
Her voice a whip.
Sit down.
Son.
Or we'll let the Fed sort it. Chaos erupted, shouts. Accusations flying like confetti at a funeral. I let it burn, watching Elena's empire crumble in real time. Controversial decision number 2. I didn't stop at exposure. As security escorted them out, I whispered to Victor in the hall. Your play. Call me when you're ready to flip.
He did.
That night. Voice cracking over burner phone. Maggie. Baby. It was her idea. I swear I love you. Lies. But useful. I fed him crumbs. A fake escape plan. Wiring instructions to a trap account. By dawn, he'd transferred $100,000 loyalty fee, enough to bury him in wire fraud. But revenge isn't a straight shot. It's a boomerang, slicing back if you're sloppy. Mom broke first, cornering me at the diner pre-open. Flour-dusted apron askew. You destroyed us, Margaret. For what? Pride. Her eyes. Red-rimmed. Bored into me. Elena's pregnant. Victor's. You knew that. The twist hit like a sucker punch. Pregnant. In my first life. The baby had been the anchor, Elena's fresh start, the reason Mom doubled down. I died, resenting that unborn kid. Collateral in their war. Guilt gnawed. But I shoved it down. She played us all.
Ma.
The kid deserves better than thieves. Mom slapped the counter. Voice rising.
Better?
You're a monster. Blood for blood. I grabbed her hands. The warmth of them a ghost from childhood hugs.
No. Ma.
Justice. Help me end it clean. Or watch it burn hotter. She pulled away. But the seed was planted, doubt in Elena's fortress. The holidays loomed, a minefield of forced cheer. Elena went radio silent. Then nuclear, a cease and desist from her shark lawyer, accusing me of defamation. Victor vanished. His apartment, sublet, overnight. Mom hosted Christmas Eve at the house. A tense affair, tinsel drooping like nooses. Eggnog spiked with unspoken venom. Elena showed. Belly just starting to round under a festive sweater. Victor absent but his shadow long. Merry Christmas. Traitor, she hissed as we passed in the hall, hand protective on her bump. I smiled. Clinking glasses later. To family, the word hung, laced with arsenic. That night, alone with my laptop, I uploaded the files, anonymously, of course, to a whistleblower site. By morning, the Post had it, Hargrove heist, sister's kitchen empire crumbles amid fraud scandal. Shares tanked. Reservations cancelled. Elena called.
Sobbing.
You bitch. My baby's future, gone. I let her rage. Then dropped the hammer. Resigned from the board. Quietly. Or the feds get the prenatal records, your stress levels spiking from the loans. She hung up. But the email came at noon. Resignation. Laced with vitriol. Victory tasted like ash. Controversial? Blackmailing a pregnant woman? In the cutthroat coliseum of American ambition. It was survival. But the mirror showed cracks, my eyes hollow, hands trembling as I signed Lydia's investment papers. Mama's kitchen was mine now. Unchained, but at what cost? Spring thawed the ice, but not the chill between us. I relaunched the chain, rebranded as Hargrove Harvest, organic sourcing, community pop-ups in food deserts. Critics raved, a phoenix from family flames. Profit soared, but sleep evaded. Dreams of the pills, the blood, Elena's laugh echoing. Mom drifted closer, helping in the kitchens, her ledger confessions spilling over late-night shifts. I failed you both, she'd whisper, chopping onions that weren't the only things making her cry. Forgiveness? A work in progress. Elena's due date approached like a storm front. Victor resurfaced in the tabloids, arrested in Miami for fraud, singing like a canary to cut a deal. His testimony? Gold. Elena's mastermind. Mom's complicity. I could have buried them then, but held back. The twist I hadn't seen coming, a letter from Elena, hand-delivered by courier, scrawled on hospital stationery. Maggie, I'm scared. The baby's coming early. Doctors say stress. It was always you I envied, the grit, the build from nothing. Victor? A mistake. Mom?
Weak. But you're
the only one who could have saved us. Don't let hate win. For the kid? Tears blurred the ink. Hate? It was oxygen. But the kid, innocent. A blank slate in this mess. I crumpled it, then smoothed it out. Decision time. Mercy or the kill shot. The birthday loomed mine. 30 this go-round. I'd planned it meticulously. The flagship location. Closed for a private feast. Invite list, Mom. Elena, postpartum. Fragile. Select staff. Lydia as witness. No Victor. He was rotting in Rikers. As guests arrived, catered farm-fresh spreads, jazz trio crooning Sinatra, tension hummed like live wire. Elena entered last, swaddling the baby, a girl, dark curls like mine in her arms. Her eyes met mine across the room, defeated, but sparking defiance. Mom hovered, cooing at the bundle. To Maggie, Lydia toasted, glass raised. The heart that wouldn't break. Then the billow, Elena. Voice slicing the chatter. Nice party,
sis.
but who's footing it?
Mom?
She's broke, you're doing. Mom flushed, fumbling her purse. I thought it was covered. Whispers rippled. Elena smirked, bitter. Family first, right? Or has that changed? I stood, signaling the maitre d'. The room fell silent as staff converged, suits crisp, trays balanced not with bills, but deference. MS. Hargrove, the head waiter intoned, bowing slightly. Your table is ready. As always. Eyes widened, Mom's jaw slack. Elena's smirk shattering. The staff parted, revealing a reserved plaque. Margaret Hargrove, founder and owner. Shocked gasps. Chairs scraping. Owner. Mom echoed. Voice small. Elena clutched the baby tighter. Color draining.
What? How?
I smiled. Slow and sharp. Been that way for months. Resignations have perks. Lydia chuckled. But the air crackled. Controversy incarnate. A public gutting wrapped in velvet. The revelation hung like smoke after a gunshot, curling through the dining room as forks clattered and wine sloshed. Elena's face was a mask cracking at the edges. Shock. Fury. A mother's raw fear bleeding through. The baby fussed in her arms, tiny fists waving like white flags in surrender. Mom sank into her chair, hands trembling as she gripped the tablecloth.
Knuckles bone white. Maggie.
You didn't say. Her voice was a whisper, laced with the betrayal she'd inflicted on me a dozen times over. Why would I? I replied, voice steady, the jazz trio fading to a hush behind me. You all assumed I'd fold. Like last time, the words slipped out unintended, a ghost of my past life flickering. Elena's eyes narrowed, sharp as shears. Last time? What the hell does that mean? I waved it off. But the seed burrowed, doubt. The great unraveler. Lydia broke the ice. Ever the pro. To new beginnings, she said, raising her glass again, forcing smiles from the staff who hovered like sentinels. The dinner resumed in fits, courses arriving with mechanical precision, seared scallops, heirloom beet salads, my signature short ribs braised in bourbon. But the flavor was lost. Every bite was ash under the weight of eyes on me. Elena fed the baby from a bottle, her movements jerky, avoiding my gaze. Mom picked at her plate, murmuring apologies to no one. As dessert wheeled out, chocolate lava cake, molten and tempting, I made my move. Elena. A word. She stiffened but followed me to the private alcove, the city lights twinkling beyond rain-streaked windows like distant stars mocking our mess. The baby cooed, oblivious. What do you want? Margaret? My soul on a platter? Her tone was venom, but exhaustion undercut it, dark circles under her eyes. The glow of new motherhood dimmed by defeat. I leaned against the velvet banquette, arms crossed. The truth. All of it. Victor's spilling, your prenatal visits to the accountant, wiring hush money. The kids' trust fund, built on my blood. She flinched, cradling the infant closer. It wasn't. I didn't plan for you to die.
D.
The word echoed, pulling me back to that noose-tight throat, the pills dissolving on my tongue. In this life, I'd rewritten the script, but the echo lingered. You didn't stop it, I countered, voice low. Plotted with him from the jump. Mom's secrets? You weaponized them. Tears welled in her eyes, spilling over. I was scared. Okay? You were the star, the one who made it without a degree, without begging. I hated you for it. Victor. He promised it'd be fair. A clean split.
Fair.
The American dream's cruel joke. The baby gurgled, and something in me fractured. Controversial to the core, pity for the enemy. She's innocent, I said, nodding at the bundle. Name her Grace. After Dad's mom. And walk away clean non-compete. Severance. But cross me again. I trailed off, the threat implicit. Elena's sob was guttural, shoulders shaking. You're offering mercy? After everything? I nodded, throat tight. Redemption's a two-way street.
Take it.
Back at the table, the mood shifted, tentative toasts, Mom's hand finding mine under the cloth, squeezing like an anchor. Proud of you, kiddo, she murmured, eyes wet. Even if I don't deserve it. Lydia sealed deals over coffee. Her investment doubling down, pop-ups in LA. A cookbook deal. By night's end, as cabs idled curbside, Elena paused at the door. Thank you, she whispered, baby tucked against her chest. For not ending us. I watched her go. Snowflakes melting on the awning. The city exhaling into night. Victory. But hollow. Revenge a feast that left you starving. Months blurred into a rhythm I'd forgotten. Dawn runs along the East River. Steam rising from my coffee as gulls wheeled overhead. Hargrove Harvest thrived, 6th location breaking ground in the Bronx. Scholarships for culinary kids from the projects. Mom moved into the apartment above the original diner. Her ledger days traded for grandma duties. Elena? She vanished to Jersey. A quiet divorce from Victor, who got 15 to 20. Raising Grace with alimony checks I insured cleared. No contact. But postcards arrived, baby's first steps. Crayon scribbles signed Aunt Maggie. The twist came unannounced. A FedEx envelope on a muggy July morning. Inside, a USB drive and a note in Elena's script. You were right. But you missed one. Heart pounding. I plugged it in. Files unfolded, emails. Not from Victor.
But Mom.
To a lawyer. Dated weeks before my faint. Secure the buyout. Margaret's unstable, docs attached. Faked medicals. Psych evals forged to paint me unfit. The betrayal's root. Mom. Not Elena. The architect. She'd played us both. Hoarding control like a dragon its gold. Rage boiled. Fresh and furious. I'd spared her. Rebuilt with her shadow at my side.
Now?
The noose tightened anew. I confronted her that evening. Ledger in one hand, USB in the other. The diner empty save for the hum of fridges.
Why? Ma?
After everything? She didn't deny. Just deflated onto a stool. Face crumpling. I was losing you both.
Elena needed me. You.
You were flying too high. Had to clip the wings. Clip the wings. The words ignited the final fuse. Controversial to the marrow. Turning in your own mother. I called the feds anonymously. Tipping the scale. Her skim a felony. The forgery's icing. Arrest came at dawn. Cuffs clicking as neighbors gawked from brownstones. Maggie. Please, she begged from the squad car. Rain mingling with tears. Family. I stood firm. Umbrella shielding me from the downpour. Not anymore. The trial was a circus. Headlines screaming matriarchs fall. Kitchen queen's dark secret. Elena testified. Voice steady. She used me. We all paid. Grace, toddling now, became the symbol. Innocence amid the rubble. Mom got 5 years. White-collar wing. Early release for good behavior. Letters came from her cell. Apologies. Recipes scrawled on prison paper. I visited once. The plexiglass between us a Berlin Wall. Forgive, she asked. Palm pressed to the divider. I shook my head. Understand?
Yes.
That's enough. In the end, the empire stood taller, me at the helm. Unbowed. Lydia became partner. Not just investor. We mentored a new crop of chefs. Brown girls from Bed-Stuy with fire in their eyes. Elena and I,
Distant allies.
Grace's birthday's a neutral ground, cake and awkward hugs. The scar tissue of sisters mending slow. Revenge wasn't the blaze I'd craved. It was the forge, hammering me sharper. America, land of second acts. Delivered, from betrayed ghost to unbreakable queen. But some nights, staring at the skyline from my penthouse perch, now mine, paid in full, I wonder if the pills would have been quieter. Then Grace's photo pings my phone. Gummies smile wide. And I know, worth every scar. The hook closes not with a bang, but a breath. Betrayal's echo fades. But vigilance? That's eternal. And in this life, I've got the gun loaded. Safety off.